Hey everyone, this is Ina with Crochet Realm. Today I have a new project for you. It's a top made of 4 hexagon motifs, so it's a very quick project for fast crocheters. It actually took me 2 days to make this, and that is with all the distractions. So now to talk a little bit about materials. I will be using this cotton yarn, which is a 100% mercerized cotton, and it's a sport weight yarn. I bought it at Hobby Lobby for $5.99. Well, that's basically $6 plus tax. You're gonna need 4 skeins for this project. You're not gonna be using the whole skein for one motif. One skein is 100 grams and one motif takes only 60. Why I chose to use one skein per each motif is because I do not want to have to join the yarn somewhere in the middle of a motif. Since this is a very lacy project, especially after you wash it, it becomes very, drapey, and every little joining probably will be visible, and I didn't want to have that, so that's why I used one skein per each motif. So you're gonna need 4 of those. The label of this yarn suggests 3mm hook, but obviously I'm not gonna be using that. I am using a 5mm hook. That's gonna give my top or tunique the drapey look. The construction of the top, very simple, very easy. Like I said, 1 hexagon for the front, 1 for the back, 1 for the sleeve, and 1 for the other sleeve. So the front and the back look exactly the same. So I'm ready to start on the motif. I will leave about 3 inches of this tail, and then I'll start my work with a slip knot. I'm leaving this tail because I want to try and weave it in a little more, because after washing I don't want those ends to be visible if I were to leave just a little piece, So for the first ring we need to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slip stitch into the first chain to form our ring. All right, that's number 1 rule, right? To slip stitch all the time to form the ring. And then for the first round of the motif, in this ring we need to have 12 times double crochet and chain 1. And this is what I mean. So chain 3 to replace our first double crochet, and then chain 1. So that's your first time. And again, double crochet, chain 1, second time, double crochet, chain 1, third time. So go on like this until you have 12 times in total. We end this round with a slip stitch into the third chain of our first double crochet. So 1, 2, 3 into the third one. Slip stitch here. Next round we will be working only in the chain 1 spaces. Therefore, slip stitch into the first chain 1 space, and we start our work like this. Chain 4, that is to replace a treble stitch, okay? And then work another treble into this same space. And now followed by a chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so every chain 1 space has to have 2 treble crochets and chain 7. So we repeat this 11 more times. For the last chain 7 space, I have to work this chain 4 and a double crochet into the 4th chain stitch of our first treble right here. and that will replace our chain 7 space. Next round, chain 4, obviously that replaces a treble crochet, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That is our first chain 3 space. In the next chain 7 space, work the following things. Skip 2 chain stitches into the third chain stitch of this space. Work 2 double crochets. So 1, 2. Work 3 double crochets into the next chain stitch of this chain 7 space. So 1, 2, 3. And in the next chain stitch of this space, work 2 more double crochets. So this way we have 7 double crochets into this chain 7 space. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. For the next chain 7 space, work the following stitches. Again, skip 2 chain stitches, and in the third chain stitch, work 1 treble crochet. So that's your first. In the next chain stitch of this space, work 2 trebles. So that's 1 and 2. And in the next chain stitch of this space, work 1 more treble. So in this space, you got 4 treble crochet stitches. Chain 3, and now repeat what you had here. That means 7 double crochets into this chain 7 space. I like to go into the stitches, not just into the space, okay? Because this is a large project, like the stitches are large, and after washing you want them to stay placed at the center of this space, not just going all over the place. That's why I chose to work my new stitches into the stitches of the previous row. So you skip 2, and then in the third one work 2 double crochets. And then 3 double crochets into the next chain stitch. 1, 2, 3. And last 2 double crochets into the next chain stitch. Again, chain 3. So you notice that between each section of these stitches there is a chain 3 space. So 1, 2, 3, and next section will be the trebles. Okay, so skip 2 chains, 1 treble into the third stitch, 1. In the next stitch we need to work 2 treble stitches. 1, 2, and 1 more into the next stitch. Okay, so you pretty much got it. That's what you do for this round. Always chain 3 between these sections. So one time it's going to be 7 double crochets, and another time it's going to be 4 trebles. All right, I'll see you at the end of this round. So I got to my last space, chain 7 space, and I have to end this with 4 trebles. So I'm gonna do this chain 3, and then the same way I skip 2 stitches, and in the 3rd chain stitch I'll work my first treble, and in the next chain stitch, in this one, I will work the last 2 trebles. So one more here, and then to end this round, we slip stitch naturally into the 4th chain stitch of our first treble that we made when we started the round. So round complete. For the next row, we're gonna start with chain 4. That obviously replaces our treble crochet, and then chain 5. That's for our first chain 5 space. Okay. On top of these 7 stitches, we're gonna work 7 single crochets. That means 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. That would be my 3rd now. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th single crochet. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now these 4 trebles, we're gonna split them in half, okay? There will be 2 columns going from this one. So work 2 trebles into the first stitch. So that would be your first. And then second treble into the same stitch. Now, 1 treble into the next stitch right here. Chain 4, one treble into the next stitch, and 2 trebles into the next stitch. And then we repeat. So chain 5, 7 single crochets on top of these 7 stitches. That means 1 single crochets in each of the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and chain 5 again, and then work your trebles. So this section is divided in 2 sections. So 2 trebles into the first stitch, and then 1 treble into the next stitch, and then chain 4, and then do the same thing, just mirror it for the other 2 stitches. So 1 treble into the next stitch, and 2 trebles into the next stitch. and then you have to repeat from this point, from this chain 5, and then you work your single crochets, chain 5 again, and then you work your trebles, chain 4, trebles. Okay, I'll see you at the end of this round. So I got almost at the end of this round, and to end the round I'm gonna have to work 1 treble into this stitch because I've done my first 3 and chain 4, and then 1 treble into this stitch. And we all know that in the last stitch we need to have 2 trebles, which one I already have, so I need to add 1 more. And I'm gonna work that last stitch into this slip stitch of the previous row, or into this stitch, doesn't matter, somewhere here. And then we slip stitch into the 4th chain, 1, 2, 3, 4 of our first treble, like this. So round complete.